What's up, Army? Welcome back to Redemption 46 Studios. I'm Nick.
And I'm Curtis.
You know the vibes. Y'all seen the picture. Y'all seen the thumbnail. Y'all know why y'all here. BTS, adult child. Why don't you be an adult and hit that subscribe button since you keep watching our content? Like, nah.
Don't be childish.
Don't be childish. Nah, definitely make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Become a real redeemer today. About 70% of people watching aren't subscribed. I don't know why at this point. You guys keep coming back to watch the content. Also, make sure you guys jump on the Patreon. When I tell y'all this is one of the craziest months on there. Like we said, the Pharrell and RM conversation, God's here. We had almost an hour and a half conversation about that on there. In the Soup Season 2, Episode 1. Episode 2 should be dropping too on Friday of next week and stuff. So pay attention to that. Also, just some of the live performances, interviews, and other stuff that we've got into this month. Mama 2020. It's some crazy content on there for BTS. But no long talk. Adult Child, when we basically seen the choreo for it, and I was real interested because the song actually sounded like it's a banger. From the looks of it and the time period, I'm assuming this is a pre-debut song. I kind of can see how young they look and everything like that. And I thought I saw RM on here. It's probably not all of them, because a lot of their pre-debut stuff looked like it was a lot of like subunits and a lot of them intermixing a lot of people. Remember, it was no V because they was keeping him hidden, so it was just,
Oh, wow. Funny enough, I heard about that, and I know a little bit of the situation with it, but I hadn't heard that on any tracks, so that'd be really interesting to kind of explore a little bit of.
Yeah, remember The Rise and stuff when they just was talking about he was kind of the member that they were hiding, and then he was introduced kind of when they did their debut and stuff, which is decent. Fun ways to keep the fans kind of on their toes, not knowing what's going on.
That is really interesting.
Right. But yeah, no long talk, man. Let's jump into this. We got the regular video. We also have like the lyrics on our phone, so we'll be taking a look at that too. And I seen it was a dance practice for this and a couple other things, which will probably be up on Patreon. Jump on there, y'all, especially if y'all like dance practices and other stuff, because sometimes y'all ask those questions and they're up on Patreon. And for the people who can't afford Patreon, it's okay. We're gonna have some more stuff on YouTube this month too. But yeah, we can jump right into this.
이제 20살인데 막상 가보니까 별것도 없고 저 이제 어떻게 해야 돼요?
20살이고 좋은 날이고 자유의 몸이 된 거야 내게 뭐니 아무것도 아니잖아 어른이 된 거야
Shit.
그냥 어른이 된 거야
Swaggy too, those are dunks.
어른이 된 거야 평범한 어른이 된 거야 평범한 어른이 된 거야 누구 무슨 데를 가고 누구 군대를 가고 누군 세수를 하고 누군 일자리를 차례 가족들을 얻어맞힌 그 달콤한 로맨스를 남은 건 그저 서두름과 서두름뿐 깃털 같을 줄도 많았던 20살의 무게 이제 바위가 될지 눌러 20살의 후회 Oh no 이제 막 동화책을 뒤처럼 피터팬들 저부터 없었나봐 네버랜드 약간의 해방감 약간의 안타까움 나서 세상에 드는 약간의 반감 이미 성인이니 나 시침이 되고 싶지 젊은 미니 청춘이니 다 무질이 없어 really 가서 봐봐 철들었어 취직한 친구는 철 대신 서류 철들었어 난 애어른이었지만 이제는 어른아이 챙겨주는 엄마도 없어 긴 일을 거른다 20살이고 좋은 날이고 자유의 몸이 된 거야 내게 뭐니 아무것도 아니잖아 어른이 된 거야 그냥 어른이 된 거야
Fuck, this is a pre-debut song. Means you probably can't download it anywhere.
받게 되는 거 중심이 두려운 그립대 영장에 뻔히 느꼈었던 이 현실이 돼 어릴 적에 크면 통일될 거래라던 엄마 말만 철석같이 믿고 현실은 건실한 의급의 현역 대상자 건강이 멀쩡한 친구도 4급인데요 나 왜 쓸데없이 건강하기만 거냐 국방의 의무 그건 촉춘사망 선고야 국가가 인정한 하위 10%는 시기에 시기 꽃다운 시기 날리니 군대를 기피해 깊이 20대 뭐래도 화려할 때 꽃집힌 청춘은 불태우게 하네 지겨운 입시를 마치고 졸업한 순간 사회란 학교에 입학 후 강제 휴학 당하게 된 20대 남성의 그 용기에 박수를 60만 부분 장벽에 린 감사의 악수를 스무 살이고 좋은 날이고 자유의
Shit, or I'm in shit with a little vocals.
그냥 어른이 된 거야 그냥 어른이 된 거야 평범한 어른이 된 거야
Hey,
평범한 어른이 된 거야 어른이
20살이 되고 세상을 아는 학교에 입학했지만 거긴 선생님도 없더라고.
누군 재수해 누군 군대 가겠지만 마냥 순수했던 이때를 잊지만
어른 그거 별거 아니니까.
어른 그거 별거 아니니까
그거 별거 아니니까.
진짜 별거 아니니까.
I ain't gonna lie, Kurt, that made me feel warm inside.
It did feel really comforting.
Yeah, y'all gotta let me know, I guess, in the comments because I've never heard this one, but I used to play their cover to Young, Wild, and Free a lot. Ironically, it's them three over here,
Yeah.
and the Young, Wild, and Free is J-Hope, JK, and Jimin. So I'm not sure if these drop kind of the same
Times
time.
may possibly correlate. If nonetheless, it's a interesting coincidence. So.
Even the videos are similarly kind of like shot the same as far as them having like their school
Same
outfits
wardrobes,
on and just kind of like, you know, being out and about. What I will say though is like this video looks like it holds up. I wouldn't say holds up more than the Young, Wild, and Free cover.
I know what you mean.
But this actually looks really good still. The cinematography and everything is pretty decent. It's very clean as far as like the aesthetic goes. I think the lays still actually hold up and shit. The Suge Compton hat joint. Jen was killing it with the dunks on and stuff like that. Like all the fits seem like fitted and everything. Like it's cool. My man, look, he's probably writing in that notebook in the MacBook already.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump into the lyrics with you, but from what I can say, just kind of on the first listen, their cadences are they're above and beyond a lot of people that we've listened to with pre-debut stuff. This felt like a little bit of a master's class for some of the new rappers, and I also love that RM and Suge were able to kind of do a lot of melodic stuff early
that
on
was,
too.
That was really interesting.
So like, you know, I thought like that was interesting. I love that you know, since like JK and Jimin were on the other track, and if they weren't, I do like Jin getting a lot of just kind of the vocal command on here.
Yeah.
This felt like such a great pairing, and I guess it kind of makes sense then because the three oldest, and then technically, yeah, then it's kind of making a little bit more sense as I'm talking. But this is really dope. I kind of wish I can download this. I want to see more. I want to see the dance practice to this. I'm getting the feels. This felt good. Like this feels really like just, I don't know. It just feels like good energy. It feels youthful. Without even looking at lyrics, I'm pretty sure it's more of probably some youthful energy. What high school feels like, or what college is gonna be like, or just am I leaning towards something?
Yeah.
It's giving good. It's giving like that energy, like just kind of like that youthful energy. And I love the I forget what like instrument that is. What is? And I feel like I brought this shit up before with Hero and Nas. I think if you never heard it. I don't know. This is during the time a lot of the beats used to be like. And I brought that up last time because I'm hearing it again here with the little. I
don't want to say xylophone or something like that, but nah, I'm probably tripping.
Yeah, you hear it. And it could just
that's piano.
And
right
it could just be like a piano. Both could be just pianos, and like they can like mess with the piano any way they want to. Like but I enjoy the sound and stuff because it brings me back to a time. There was a lot of people were doing that in between like 2009 and 2012. It was a lot of productions being done that way. But yeah, I probably just been rambling. This is I like the production here. I still feel like the production holds up, which was a conversation me and Lo had like on another video. You were here with the whole. I'm not gonna put words in his mouth. As far as like the production being bad or better, I just felt like the production has always been good. It's just some sounds haven't aged well, so some of the production is lacking there. But this is I still love this production. I'm a sucker for this. But yeah, you wanted to jump in?
Well, yeah, I'm just gonna talk about a little bit of things within the videos just before I get into a little bit of the lyrics at least. But to say the least, they were really spitting for sure. But
Okay.
I'm
gonna read some of it.
I really like, for example, in the production of the video itself, as you said, the production aspects of it just generally, even though it's shot, and it's weird. This is like a hard line to walk. It's professional grade clearly, but it's meant to feel relatable and amateur in the sense that it's like you're just with them. You know what I mean? Like you're just like documentary style, I suppose. So it walked a good line of professional cinematography and everything of that nature, but it also felt like almost like documentary-esque kind of style, which I did appreciate a lot. It was also nice, just as a side fun personal note, to see a little bit of Suge kind of playing some basketball, because I know, Suge is shooting guard, that whole kind of analogy, but I haven't personally seen him actually play much basketball, so I've been looking forward to like little clips with that. So I just thought it was really nice to kind of see a little bit of that, just on a completely unrelated note. But as you had said, all the flows and cadences, particularly that they were hitting within the verses, I definitely really like those as well. I do like, the aspects of the fits. I'm really glad that Jin, had a lot of the vocal kind of weight, as you had said, as far as, on the track. And it felt like it was a register of a track that really suited him as well. And lastly, as far as, the production side of all this, or not even the production, but just, the musicality of it, I really like that they also had, melodic type flows, at least to my understanding of it, up to having, seen this. I thought it was more so that they had kind of developed the vocal training as they had went along to where they could then do some of that. But they showed a lot of signs of that even, early on. It just was something that I hadn't heard as much in the tracks as well. Mm-hmm. And especially just knowing that they were kind of a little bit more catered to be more of a rap-centric group. It was really satisfying to see, Suge and RM all get off full 16s plus. Mm-hmm. Like just lyrically, like I just find whenever there's a longer verse structure, you're able to get more embedded into what themes and explorations they're trying to tell, because there's more story to be told within there. Mm-hmm. And as much as I love the vocals and everything, it holds a special place to me when there is a lot more weight given to the lyrics. So I definitely appreciated that both from RM and from Suge.
Hey Kurt.
Yeah.
We got to jump into this, man.
Oh, I know. I was just about
With
to.
every man in their 20s experience a deep sense of remorse, fearing military draft notes. Mm-hmm. The things that once felt so far away became reality. They said the North and South would be unified by the time we've grown up. That's what my mom said, and I completely believed her. But the reality is I'm an able-bodied, first-rate soldier material.
Well, it's the whole idea is, again,
with talking about going
when you're talking about, and gosh, that hits a lot different now too.
Civil duties. It's a juvenile death sentence. I envy the nation's lowest 10%. He talking that shit. How old is he? 20 right here?
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, mind you, it's like you're talking about the aspects of the adult child, and again, this is something I really like within the video itself. If you notice, that bike is a lot smaller than him. But it's narratively motivated. It's to say you've outgrown. Like, this is a sense of innocence that you can no longer possess the same. Mm-hmm. So I thought that, even as a small, thing that won't take up any kind of budget necessarily, it really served a narrative purpose. And I really enjoyed that. But basically, the whole idea of this is the day, and this is something that is explored in another track that I won't say necessarily, but basically the idea that you're young and you're looking for that day when you become a full adult. Like, I'm free, right? I'm no longer a kid, I'm an adult. So you hit that age, and then all of a sudden you realize all the responsibilities and everything that entails, to where you then miss that innocence of those ages.
I know that life.
It really hits a very difficult line to walk, because it's the optimism mixed with like the almost shattering like reality of kind of what those situations really entail. And that's something that's relatable to almost anyone, but particularly what he was talking about in his verse with the military aspects of it, the fact that he had grown up feeling that this was a situation that was going to be resolved, by that time, and the fact that he said, the me who basically feels like a kid is an able-bodied soldier. at this point. Like essentially what I had grown up seeing and mind you, and I'm not making this a segue of any point necessarily, but even particularly watching, sports nowadays where it's like, yo, he's 22, he's 23, he's 24. And it's just like, these are all people that are so young seemingly, but when you're a kid and you're seeing these athletes particularly, you feel like they're just on top of the world, these adults. Or even if you come to that realization, like, yo, my dad was a father when he was my age. Just kind of those things. It's like these people that you see as these full-grown adults because you're so young and little and innocent, almost to a fault, it seems. That then when you kind of reach those ages, you're just like, wow, it's really deep. It's really complex. And it's a scary thing, but it's also a comforting thing in the sense that everyone has had to go through this journey, and essentially you're not as alone as you feel that you are, and there is a little bit of a comfort within that. But I mean, particularly just, him talking about everything with the military aspects of everything is just incredible as far as his lyricism. But one that really stood out to me as well was the weight of being 20, what I thought would be a feather is actually a boulder that pins me down. Like that was something that was really incredible because essentially you feel the weight of being a child lifted off your shoulders, but it's only doubled down upon as opposed to being truly relieved. So it's like I just thought the wordplay in that was really incredible as well,
and just so relatable.
It really is.
I think that's what it really is too. It's just so relatable. And these seem like I'm gonna let you jump back in and get your point off. Just concepts that them, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna say shouldn't be talking about, but that's really heavy for a pre-debut from an idol, which would lead me to believe if I was Army this early on that they're ahead of their time with lyrics and everything like that. Like this is just some deep shit, and I think that's how come. Whenever y'all kind of see like me and Lo kind of like do our back and forths and stuff like that, when he alludes to like them, I'm not gonna say maturing later on or certain albums like being like turning points. I think me personally, I guess y'all could tell me how y'all feel in the comments. I think they were just kind of ahead of their time very early. I think anybody that was paying attention during pre-debut and even their first album, they're touching on concepts and other things that some of these idols aren't really touching on maybe until like their third or fourth album. Just really having conversations that are kind of very relatable and conveying those conversations in either beautiful poetry or such like double entendres where even if it feels like I'm kind of talking about one thing, I'm really talking about this. Yeah. Just ahead of their time. This is a sleeper. I feel like you can do a fucking film study.
No, absolutely.
With this.
It's a really tough thing to explore. Talking about something that's so deep and personal to you, but also making it again, relatable and everything. And mind you, just knowing that the rap line carried a lot of the burden as well, as far as music,
distribution, music, and everything,
music.
writing, everything.
So it's like I'm factoring in the weight of all these things he's talking about on top of those things, and on top of still trying to make it, as a group and trying to be everything you set out to be. It's really hard, and that's honestly just putting it as lightly as possible. But it's I also just wanted to touch on, I really like the Peter Pan line, as far as like the me who is like fresh out of the fairy tale, as far as like again, it's like that desire, that magic in you pursuing, music, these, thoughts, hopes, dreams, things of that nature. But then saying that you're never making it to Neverland, which was creative wordplay, never. As far as the way that was flipped, so I thought that was a really great exploration as well, or rather coming to realize it's a fairy tale as opposed to something that can actually be achieved. Because even the Peter Pan thing, as far as aside from fairy tales and desires and hopes and dreams, it's also about being young forever, and the journey of it is about the kids learning to have to kind of grow up while cherishing the magic of still being an adolescent. So it's really great exploration there within the lyrics. And I also like that RM particularly had said the sense of hostility he feels towards the world that's strange to him, essentially. And this is just a general psychological thing. We fear what we don't know, don't understand. That's just like a general kind of principle that we've come to seemingly understand, at least up to this point. So the fact that you are entering a world that you don't understand makes you fear it and makes you then more likely to be hostile to coming to learn it. So I just thought that was a great exploration as well, lyrically. I mean, shit, I still got to get to a little bit of Suge's verse, but if you had anything, I just didn't want to overlook what he had stated as well. But all I have to say is just the poetry is just incredible.
Yeah, it's a lot. Just because, like you said, it's just breaking down like their bars verse for verse and stuff. Obviously, it's better when like people have 16s, because then you kind of can get your shit off a little bit more than you could when the line distribution is just, you know, having 4 or 6 bars. But it's really just so much to kind of love with this video and with the lyrics and everything else. Like I said, I'm a sucker for their like debut stuff and pre-debut stuff.
Yeah.
Just because even though I wasn't around, it still feels nostalgic for me just to kind of see them like, you know, essentially like, you know, when they were babies. But I'm really just I'm more so wild and impressed with this.
Yeah.
Then like obviously the nostalgia is there and I love it, but I'm very impressed with just the level of writing in a pre-debut track.
Honestly, and it's like I don't want to say the opposite end of the same spectrum or anything like that, because I really appreciate the nostalgia of it, the musicality of it. Like I really do think it's an incredible song, but it almost holds like more of a sad weight to me in the sense that the 3 people on this, you know, Jin's, you know, going off the military, of course, very soon. And then Suge's lyrics, you know, him being the next one to seemingly go, depending on, you know, however that situation plays out. But then the whole idea of how fearful it is and everything, and just kind of knowing that it's a little bit more, and obviously like the tensions are a little bit more rise now as we come to see in recent weeks and months particularly. So it just kind of the time, like I do believe music and all these things in general do find you when, you know, they're meant to find you.
I was just about to say, it's
But
wild when it's found this.
Yeah, but it just, that's holding a lot of, I don't even want to say a bad taste in my mouth or anything like that, because it's good and it gives a lot of meaning to the lyrics they're exploring.
Bittersweet.
Yeah, it's just knowing that like there's so much pain behind these lyrics, and I just, you know, hope that, you know, with everything going on, that situation is, you know, something that ultimately does, you know, play out, you know, and is resolved peacefully and all those things. Of course, it just I couldn't help but feel a lot more weight of what the lyrics mean, just knowing kind of the present context of it. But separating, you know, those things, you know, from it.
He did say a handshake of gratitude to the nation's 60,000.
And that was the line I was really going to touch on in Suge's verse as well, was basically the idea that, you know, you are touching on how horrible it is and how you want to avoid this, and you know, just like rightfully so. I mean, just how kind of right you are to fear this situation. But then basically the idea that, you know, like that handshake and that gratitude for the 60,000 plus that have served or are serving, excuse me, I would say, you know, at least at the time of this release, is just to say basically, like, I'm in the stage of having to become adult and having to take on those responsibilities, and how fearful I am of it, just knowing that those people are actually, you know, doing that and serving, and just what that means, you know, and just that you know, handshake of gratitude. Because basically it's almost, I don't want to say it's you have the strength that I don't or anything like that, but it's basically that, you know, if this scares me, I know this scares other people, you know, whether you talk about it or not. And to tell you the truth, I can't even imagine how relatable this would be to anyone who is either serving or having served or came back from serving. It just really feels like a song that's really tailored to, you know, everything that must have been felt, particularly. And just knowing that the tensions are kind of, like, I don't even mean currently, but just the fact that they were technically always at war, like it was a never-ending, seemingly war. So that imagine that anxiety and that stress and that tension of technically any day, like something.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But I'm saying living with that as a nation, and
any
as
day
a
it could
young,
go down.
Yeah, and as a young growing person, because it's like, I mean, you often hear about this in stories of, you know, war anyway, whether it's true or fictitious or based on anything, particularly both in songs, you know, movies, shows, all those things. It's just there's something artistically really powerful about the idea of, I don't want to say loss of innocence, but you do really come to realize how, you know, everyone who's kind of going through those situations really are just so young, that it gives a lot of weight to the responsibilities that are having to be carried out with those things. But yeah, I didn't mean to make that like a whole tangent or anything. But all that to say that it really makes a lot of the weight of the lyrics hit, you know, that much harder.
Well, what I will say, Kurt, is I hope that, like, you know, at this point, the song is 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So maybe some of the ideology or just perspective, hopefully, like got better. Where if I'm writing this song and I'm 20 years old or I'm 19, I might feel a certain way.
Yeah,
Versus
absolutely.
me kind of living life and now being 29, and now I'm just like, well, you know what? This is more of a civic duty, or you know what? I do want to serve my nation, or just, you know, maybe things, you know, may not be perfect, but I do, you know, I want to do what my folks do, because I'm pretty sure, like, well, not pretty sure. We talk often about how honorable, like that society is and stuff, and just how important it is to serve and, like, you know, do what you're supposed to do. So, you know, just maybe as men, things aren't as they don't feel that same way. Hopefully, 'cause I would hate for somebody to feel that way and still go.
Even within the bridge of the track, and that's something that I was just looking over particularly, because, you know, if you call something into question, you know, in the hook or in the first verse or anything like that, or even in the title, as far as like your theme and kind of the concepts you're trying to explore, the bridge is essentially really where the climax of the story. It's where you tie everything together, and kind of essentially, if you're asking a question in the beginning, the bridge is really kind of where you answer that, or at least, you know, begin to answer that. You might not always have the answer, but it's just, that's kind of where the theme is tied together the strongest. And I really do like that. Essentially, it kind of comes to the conclusion of reach and appreciate that blissful ignorance, because essentially, yes, you're ignorant to it and you can be resentful to that, but it's essentially kind of turning the other cheek to it. Essentially, come to understand this as a blessing, not of the horrors of what adulthood can represent and will likely represent. Because as I said, there's no teachers in adulthood. Like, there's no, like, you're out there to kind of explore, you know, almost sink or swim sort of mentality, for lack of a better term, at least. But I do like that they basically say, like, listen, like, even if these things are to come and they are horrible, take them in stride and appreciate the moments that you do have with that blissful ignorance, as far as the youth, you know, because I've at least felt this way with their discography, and I'm not turning this into a whole thing or anything, but I've always felt that they've maintained youthful passion, excitement, energy, positivity. Like, they, you know, of course they work hard, and, you know, they're incredibly mature and everything, you know, EQ, IQ, all those, you know, all those attributes, characteristics as well, but it's something that I really feel like they've maintained such a child at heart energy.
We watch it in the soups, and you can still feel
absolutely
the energy with them doing it. And I think nothing's wrong with that. I think maybe
those are in the most difficult times of difficult times, like, you know, as far as like what responsibilities are on their shoulders. I mean, again, they had no idea. They wanted to make music. You know, they didn't know they were going to blow up the way they have and have the responsibilities, have to talk to the president, the UN leaders, you know, headline, you know, mama performances, MMA. Like, it's like, of course, those are all, you know, dreams and aspirations, I'm sure. But as I said, you know, multiple times, we're just essentially people who wanted to make music. You know, we were just passionate about music. So,
and sometimes you don't know what comes with certain things. Like, you might just be like, yo, I want to, like, let's say it's us. I want to win an Oscar one day.
Yep.
Do you know what press runs come with that, and interviews you have to do, and just the work you have to put in? Like, even after winning, what's expected of you after you win, or what's next after, like, winning? So, like you said, just kind of for the goal to be like, yo, you know, we come from a small company. We just want to make it and want our music to be heard, turned into something else. And I know RM literally, like, alluded to all of that. Like, I didn't know we were going to be at the UN, you know, giving speeches or talking, meeting the U.S. president, or, you know, just being in certain places and doing certain things and shit. But it speaks volume. I need you to stay with me. It speaks volume. It speaks volume, like, on the group, just how they were able to kind of grow, mature in multiple ways, and kind of not really go with the flow, but just whatever was thrown their way, they made it work and just kind of kept it moving from there.
They've handled such adversity, and it really is honestly crazy how this track, like, holds that kind of weight in retrospect, because we have so much more of an understanding of all the hardships and trials and tribulations they've had to go through, musically, personally, you know, as far as, you know, the international side, as far as, like, you know, the fame they've achieved, the pandemic, right? Like, performing your best choreo and then having that choreo, now you got to top it. Your best song, now you got to top it. Now you got to talk about things you've never talked about before. Like just the exploration and the way they've maintained such a sense of growth and humility, and kind of walk that line and balance them like so effortlessly. This song, like hearing this, it definitely is like it gives a lot of weight to everything, and honestly, just really. Ultimately, at the end of the day, like I did say bittersweet as far as like the military and just kind of the complex themes they're exploring. But if you really look at what they're saying as far as like what does it mean to be an adult, trying to take those things in stride, being scared, and then you come to see what they've achieved after that, like it really feels like almost like I don't want to say like a season of television or like a movie, but it's like when you see the hardships of these particular moments and the things that must have been going through their head, and then you come to know what they've achieved. It just gives those rewatches, quote unquote, so much more weight and value. So honestly, I do love this musically, and I love everything within the vocals and the rap and everything. The versatility that both Suge and RM had shown, even with the little kind of melodic elements as well. Jin as well, clearly for what he had done towards the hook. But ultimately, like I really do like what this adds to the BTS chapter for me, I suppose, as far as like what it means for them, the encompassing-ness of the group and things of that nature. It just, it definitely is going to have a long staying power. And tying it back to that choreo battle, just knowing the complex themes within, this, definitely getting to have a better understanding of what complexities they must have integrated into the choreography to play on the adult fear, but then also the child innocence and things. So I can understand why that would make someone's list. And I'm honestly just glad that it was another kind of sneaky track that we weren't privy to that we had then, come to discover.
Yeah, and also too, this reminds me of this is gonna be like a crazy analogy, but you'll get it like when I'm done. Of like those Cameron movies, how we talk about like Terminator 2 and Aliens and stuff like that, where I think you can still play these today and they make sense. Like the lyrics would still resonate with a young boy or young girl in like SK right now. Where obviously, like I said, I hope maybe some of their ideologies or just perspectives have changed, but this sounds like something that literally could have came out like right now. The same way, like I said, with like Aliens or T2, how the graphics, the storyline, and everything all hold up. I almost want to call this a classic.
I don't even want to, make it about this or anything, but it is definitely narratively motivated. I will say that this is quote unquote the Hyung line for the verses, because those are the ones who would have to go.
You have to go first.
Military first. So I actually, all right. I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I don't know if this is crazy or not. I would almost argue that this was directly the same day or time as Young, Wild, and Free. Because Young, Wild, and Free has so much more weight, that cover, with the Maknae line, compared to this. I wouldn't doubt that they planned those very specifically to kind of fit around the same time. And if not, it just holds a
you're talking about as far as when the albums came out? Or?
I don't even, to tell you the truth, I don't even know about that. It's just, as we had pointed out the analogy, the comparison between the two, it's just now knowing that Young, Wild, and Free with the Maknae line versus, the responsibilities of what the Hyung line is kind of having to represent in this song. I just can't help but feel the cohesiveness of what those journeys kind of come to represent.
Oh, okay. I feel like I feel like what you're saying, especially depending on like when certain material was wrote and everything else and stuff all like that. And
it just eerily it eerily feels like a almost like a destined coincidence, seemingly, that the two tracks kind of seemingly lined up as far as the. See, I don't want to say that they were released at the same time, but
they weren't for sure released at the same time.
No, yeah, because you said this was pre-debut. So, but it's a crazy coincidence.
He felt like they had he was writing the third album already, kind of in the tuck.
Hey, we know what Bang PD do.
But yeah, that's why every time, even like I said, I don't keep bringing up Low Name. He's not here to defend himself. But like every time, like he brings up later albums and stuff, I just kind of think that obviously certain points in BTS's careers, they were like game changing and growing as artists. But when I'm, jump back into Dark and Wild, or we start going into like pre-debut stuff or just the first album, there are a lot of themes that still run throughout all the songs, to where I just feel like they kind of those BTS isms, if that's a word, I feel like I just made a thing up. Those BTS isms that we love kind of have been going on since day one, regardless of how anybody feels. I just think that now, when you get to certain albums, some of them were shown like a little bit more.
And honestly, I feel like that just comes back to how genuine we know the group to be, as far as how authentic they are with their personalities, with their music, how their production process, the way they write, and everything like that. It's just like you just know that their identity is so embedded in their work that whether it's the them of 10 years ago, 10 plus possibly, if you're counting like pre-debut and stuff, but then up to present, like their identity is just like they always have that stamp that it's them, despite the different themes, albums, concepts, A sides, B sides. They just really shine through like incredibly authentically. They always have.
Nah, real shit. Yeah, I'm good, man. This is a crazy joint, one that I like I said, didn't know we were even gonna run into. Yeah. But it's literally like 7 a.m. and me and Kurt, I just wanted us to kind of. I don't know. God was just telling me almost to jump into this. I swear I knew we were gonna have a good conversation.
Yeah, no,
with a pre-debut track.
It's a track I'm definitely curious, and I don't know if there are any things out about this song or anything like that. But if there was any like interviews or kind of studio, behind the scenes, or just them talking about the exploration of like how personal this must have been to them, like I would just also be really eager to check those things out as well. But
yep.
I'm sure there might not be, but just if there happened to be, it just would really pique my interest.
And then December 2nd.
This is all lining up like crazy. That's like
and I think like you said, that's why it's almost scary. Like I said, that we literally really only reacted to the BTS Easiest to Hardest dance just because we did the fan cam. So the fan cam kind of led us into that I don't know why Adult Child just kind of caught my ear when we were doing that, and then me and you reacted to that. But it's good timing, really just because, like you said, definitely a reason why the Young Line is like doing this song. It hold weight even more now because of Jen leaving. You know what I mean? In a month, RM's dropping again. Like
damn,
in a month.
I was just thinking of Astronaut. It just made Astronaut sadder. I'm sorry, Army.
Which is crazy because Astronaut had the adult and the child in the video.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Nah, seriously, man. Like, y'all need to be subscribed. I feel like me and Kurt just hit y'all up with like a whole bunch of shit, and I'm pretty sure y'all about to jump in the comments and give us some more information. Y'all got to jump on the Patreon because all the guys will be here. We'll do Adult Child literally like tonight when we like link back up, and the run will be a full panel. And the suit should be dropping, and it's just me all this BTS content. This is a lot. I love these kind of videos where you kind of can take a 3-minute video and turn this into like an hour conversation. This is fun, Redeemers. More BTS also, content on the way too.
If I could just ask one thing, to anyone watching this as well, like, and I'm not privy to kind of who, reacts to what or anything like that, but I imagine that this isn't a song that's reacted to at least as much, within the realm of everything. So I'm just more so curious, because I don't know like what the conversation is regarding this song, but just feel free to kind of let us know your thoughts and everything on the song, because I know there may not be as much reactions to even kind of talk about this song or what it means or how it holds now or any of those things, but just feel free to kind of explore those things in the comments.
Yeah, and throw some other pre-debut songs our way, and I feel like it'd be really fun to kind of see like what holds up and like what kind of, I'm not gonna say still makes sense, but just like certain themes and certain things they probably talked about early on where you just like, oh shit, like y'all really were ahead of your time with certain things, is I'm interested in. But yeah, Army, we love you guys. We're gonna let you.
Love y'all. Take care.